Alright guys, I've covered every spell list except one, so it's time to get into my favorite spell list, the occult lists. Let's dive in. So I'm going to start with a cantrip that a lot of you experienced players have probably used before, but you new players might not even know about. Guidance. With Guidance, you can give an ally a +1 bonus to any d20 roll in the game except for flat checks. Downside, they have to use it before the start of your next turn or lose it. But whether they use it or not, they are immune to this spell for 1 hour. But the good thing about this spell is that they get to choose what they use the bonus on. Barbarian having trouble hitting? He'll use it on his attack roll. An ally having trouble getting rid of poison? He'll use it on his fortitude save. The list goes on. You never have to worry about buffing the wrong thing, so this is a fantastic spell. And it's a cantrip, so you can use it on the entire party. Bane is one of those spells that works extremely well if you're facing a large amount of enemies. It starts as a 5-foot emanation. Enemies in the area must make a will saving throw or take a -1 status penalty to their attack rolls. You can also spend a single action on your turn to increase the area by 5 feet. When you do this, each enemy that hasn't been affected yet must make a new saving throw, even those that were in the area initially. A -1 to attack rolls could be the difference between a hit and a crit, and this spell gives it to a bunch of enemies if you use it right. Next, I've got a fun one for you guys with Paranoia. You target one creature within 30 feet and force them to make a will saving throw. If they don't crit succeed or crit fail, they become unfriendly to anyone that they weren't already hostile towards. This can last anywhere from 1 round to 1 minute depending on the saving throw. If they critically fail their saving throw, they use their actions and reactions to attack everyone regardless of whether they were an ally or not before. This one is especially good on stealth characters, especially if you heighten it to 6th level and can target up to 5 creatures. Cast this on a group of enemies, and if any one of them critically fails, then a lot of groups of enemies will take each other out without you having to do a single other thing. Then when there's only one enemy left, you can swoop in and finish them off. Great spell, highly recommend. Alright, I've talked about the slow spell in a different video, so of course I've got to talk about the opposite of that, haste. Haste quickens one creature within 30 feet for 1 minute. This of course gives them an extra action on their turn, but they can only use that action to stride or strike, basically to move or attack. An extra action is always good, no matter if it's limited or not. Giving any martial the ability to move, intimidate, and still attack 2 times is amazing. This is one you should definitely consider picking up. For level 4, I've gone with Chroma Leech. This spell requires a fortitude saving throw and works especially well against gnomes. As long as the foe doesn't critically succeed on their saving throw, they are enfeebled 2 from anywhere from a round to permanently. And if they at least fail on their saving throw, they're anywhere from drain 1 to drain 2. This one is fantastic to use against strength-based enemies, because a lot of times strength-based enemies also have high constitution. The strain will also lower their HP and their fortitude saves. It does require a fortitude saving throw though, so you may want to lower their fortitude save before you hit them with this spell. Black Tentacles targets one 20-foot burst within 120 feet that is next to a flat surface. The tentacles created by this spell attempt to capture all creatures in the area. Make a spell attack roll against the fortitude DC of each creature. Any creature that you succeed against is grabbed by the tentacles and takes 3d6 bludgeoning damage. The tentacles attempt to grab any creature that ends their turn in the area, or if they're already grabbed, then it deals 1d6 bludgeoning damage. Remember that grabbed enemies are flat-footed to everyone in the party. That means a -2 to their AC. It also means they have to spend at least 1 action on their turn getting out of it. Which I've said many times before, wasting enemy actions is always a good thing, and this can hit multiple enemies. Try hitting enemies with this spell and then just keep hitting them with ranged attacks. See how enemies do. Cast into time deals mental and bludgeoning damage in a 15-foot cone with a fortitude saving throw. Creatures that don't critically succeed on their saving throw fall into time and disappear until the end of your turn. Thus, you get one action without them on the battlefield. But that's not what makes this spell really good. What makes this spell really good is that when they return, if they at least failed on their saving throw, they become sickened. Sickened 1 on a failure, sickened 2 on a critical failure. That's a -1 to everything, and they have to spend an action to even attempt to get rid of it. With Prismatic Armor, you grant Resistance 5 to Acid, Cold, Electricity, Fire, Force, Mental, Poison, and Sonic damage to one creature you touch for 1 minute. Additionally, any creature that attacks the target and is adjacent to it must make a will saving throw. If it critically fails that saving throw, they are blinded until the end of their next turn. This spell is borderline broken. It not only grants protection against almost every type of elemental damage, but it also discourages enemies from attacking in melee. Because if they do, and they critically fail that will save, they're not hitting anything for a round. And this is a touch spell, so you can cast it on anyone. Even yourself if you want. For an 8th level spell for this list, I've gone with Canticle of Everlasting Grief. This spell targets one creature within 120 feet and requires a will saving throw. The target can take anywhere from 5d6 mental damage to 20d6 mental damage depending on their saving throw. They might also be anywhere from Frightened 1 to Frightened 4. Also, the target can't benefit from any circumstance or status bonuses for anywhere from a round to until the curse is broken. Also, if the target critically fails their saving throw, their allies can't benefit from a circumstance or status bonuses while within 15 feet of the target. So this spell does good damage, frightens the foe, and makes it so the foe can't benefit from anything but item bonuses. Come on, of course I'm going to cover this one. That spell was pretty good, but Weird certainly gives it a run for its money. Target any number of creatures within 120 feet. They must all attempt will saving throws. If a target doesn't critically succeed on their saving throw, they take at least half of 16d6 mental damage. Also, the target is at least Frightened 1, maybe Frightened 2. If the target critically fails their saving throw, they must make another Fortitude saving throw. If they fail, they die. But even if they succeed, they take double damage and are Frightened 2. They are also fleeing until the end of their next turn unless they critically succeeded on the Fortitude save. Again, it should be pretty obvious why I'm picking this spell. Frightened is one of the best debuffs in the game. Only 2 are better in my opinion. And if they crit fail, they might just instantly die. And it can target any number of creatures within 120 feet. Great spell. Highly recommend if you get to this point as an occult caster. I know I've been giving you guys some 10th level spell recommendations in my previous videos, but I've already covered the good 10th level spells on the occult list in other videos. So instead, I'm going to give you guys some honorable mentions here. Bless is the exact opposite of Bane and gives your allies a +1 bonus to their attack rolls. Cloak of Colors is similar to Prismatic Armor, except that it doesn't give elemental resistance. Tempest of Shades is an incarnate spell that drains targets when it enters and frightens them when it leaves. Unfathomable Song gives a random condition to up to 5 creatures, all of which are good in the right situation. And finally, Lang Sting deals poison damage, drains the target, and might make them confused. Be sure to check out my Patreon page if you want Google Sheets for all my teamwork builds and other exclusive perks. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.